Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Tuesday night. It's recap time of the American Athletic Conference Media Days that took place in Arlington earlier today. They had a few things on Monday as well, so we'll dive into that in tonight's episode. I want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in to the previous episode that dropped on Friday, officially episode number 2. Really appreciate those that also hit that subscribe button. And to the individuals that sent emails and also dropped some comments on the YouTube page as well, very thankful for you guys, and that's the type of feedback that I'm looking for here on Rain and Cane. You can always reach out to me. My email address at Poplin Show, Gmail, poplinshow@gmail.com, and on Twitter as well. It's Jeremy Poplin, X, whatever the hell you call it. It's still Twitter to me and will always be Twitter to me. But yeah, thank you to everyone that reached out. Some really, really wonderful things that were said. And like I said, this thing's going to continue to evolve the longer that we do this. And I promised that we would recap American Athletic Conference Media Days. So here we are with episode number 3. Again, hit that subscribe button and we'll keep doing this on a regular basis. I think we should start first overall with the media poll that was released. And I don't think it's really any surprise of where Tulsa ended up ranked inside of the media poll, coming in at number 12. Kevin Wilson basically had the exact same thoughts that I did. Like, what do you expect coming off of the type of season that they had last year, that they struggled inside a conference? And you guys know this as being fans. Tulsa will never get the benefit of the doubt with anyone when it comes to the media, when it comes to the press, anything at all. Even in the years in which you knew that they were going to be a contender in the conference, they didn't get the respect that they deserved at all. So this is always going to be an earned respect type scenario with Tulsa football. And that's where they are again this year, 12. And, you know, you can use that as motivation. You can use that in a variety of different ways. But at the end of the day, does it really matter where they're at in the preseason poll? No, it doesn't make one bit of difference whether they're second or whether they're 12th. Kevin Wilson basically said, hey, we haven't earned that right. And that's exactly where I'm at. So not shocked at all. Memphis, by far, the number 1 pick in the conference preseason media poll, got the most first place votes. A few sprinkled votes there for some other teams that are a tad bit interesting to see where exactly that they ended up. But here's one thing you got to remember. Over the last 10 years of preseason media polls, the preseason favorite has only finished in the top spot 3 times. And one of those times was a 3-way tie. So it doesn't happen very often at all. Memphis has some question marks, but in my opinion, they should be ranked number 1 with the way that they finished last year, knowing what they have going into this year. So no big surprise. Tulsa has some work to do, and I think that we all knew that. Now, is this a roster that's been put in place for them to finish 12th? No, it is not. And we all know that that would be a major, major disappointment if they end up finishing in that spot. So without further ado, let's hit Kevin Wilson and his press conference that he had earlier today down in Arlington as we officially kick off the start of football season. It's Media Days in the American Athletic Conference, and here is Kevin Wilson at the podium.
Thanks, Tim. Good morning. Good to be back down in Dallas. Quick opening statement again. Year 2. I think we made some good strides. We'll see. We're coming off a 4-8 record, so we're 4-8. That is what it is. We'll see where we stack up going into this year. We got decent nucleus back, some good skill guys. Brought a couple great guys. Proud to be representing Anthony Watkins and Cam Benjamin here. Proud to be representing our school, our new athletic director. Justin Moore coming in from Texas A&M, President Carson, our crowd. So we've got a great situation in Tulsa. It's a challenging job, small school, but phenomenal city, great academic place. Our young men have embraced the school academically, and we've been crushing it academically with the way our kids are working, our support there. Have a great all season here of weight room work. I think we're a stronger, more developed team. I think we've got a really good vibe of coaches now understanding our players understanding coaches. So we're coming off, I think, a great spring and summer workout. Excited to see the guys are back this week as coaches working with them. So I'm excited to get back up there tonight and see the kids next couple of days. We open up first practice Monday the 29th. We're playing it Thursday night against Northwest Louisiana, Northwestern State. So looking forward to cranking it up. Had a great recruiting year. Got a good nucleus coming back. Got a lot of work to do in a challenging league. And like I said, we're excited to get going and have a great year here in year 2. So questions?
All right, as we get ready for questions, Coach, can you tell us about the 2 young gentlemen that came with you this weekend?
Yeah, I brought, and I think looking at it, not by design, I ended up bringing 2 young men from the offensive side. Defensively, I like our defensive players a lot this year. I think we got some transfer players, but I don't know if they had been there long enough to maybe earn the right to be the mouthpiece or the voice yet. Got a couple players that had really good seasons coming off of, though maybe some injuries that maybe didn't play as much. A couple position change guys. So I like our core nucleus of defense, but I brought 2 offensive players. Both those guys are graduates of Tulsa. Cam Benjamin last year finished the year, I think, one of the leading receivers in the league, and our leading returning receiver, I think, with 47 catches. Was a team captain last year. He's from Cedar Hill. He's a graduate of TU. He's got an MBA from TU. He's starting his second master's as a 6-year player. Mother's the athletic director down at Cedar Hill. His father coaches down there, so he's a local kid, and great to have him here. And I brought Anthony Watkins. Initially, I was going to bring a defensive player. I was going to bring Cam as a team leader, but I started looking at Anthony. Just graduated this past year. When I got there, he wasn't academically ineligible. He's probably grew as much as a man, as a person, and his lifestyle, his habits, the way he's living. He finished last year, I think he's the 3rd leading rusher in the conference. He had 450 yards, I want to say, in the last 4 games. I think last year we played our way into shape. He played his way into practicing well. I think this year he's going to start. He's coming off of what looks like has been an excellent summer. So I think Anthony shapes up to have a great senior season. And Anthony is from Fort Worth, so brought 2 Dallas area kids. We did sign, I think, 12 kids out of the Dallas Metro last year, 11 the top 100 by the Dallas Morning News. So I think we signed the most Dallas kids of any team in the nation last year. So we love the football in Oklahoma, the football in Tulsa, but we do complement it greatly with Texas high school football. And like I say, it's great to have two Dallas natives down here for the media days here down here in DFW.
That's awesome. Our first question from the media will be here to the far left.
Hey, Coach. Snowy Valente with the Mean Green Show. I want to talk about your redshirt freshman, Kirk Francis. He displayed some greatness in some small windows that he did play. How has his game grown through spring football?
Again, Kirk had a chance. He came in. When we got there last year in December, Coach Spurrier and myself, we didn't feel comfortable not knowing some of the guys to maybe go with a high school quarterback. We'd have him for sure. Kind of recruited Kirk to be a scholarship player, but we got him to come in as a top walk-on. He had several opportunities at other schools to walk on. He had several opportunities at the FCS level with scholarships. But when he came in, he battled really hard on the scout team. He didn't show up until summer, so he didn't have spring ball. But by midseason was playing as good as anyone. And with a couple injuries we had, we were able to play him the last 4 games. He was able to redshirt. He came in the second half of the Charlotte game. But I think he finished those last 4 games averaging, I think, 295 yards a game passing. I think he threw for 345 in his first start at Tulane and gave us a chance in a close game that we couldn't ever get over the hump against those guys. They're a great team, but played well. So, he's got good anticipation. He sees the field. He can process, and it's for a young guy. Like, some guys are smart, but they can't see. Kirk can see. He can process. He can come over and tell you what he sees. I think he distributes the ball well. Now, we're not going with him as a starter yet. He's played 4 games. Cardell Williams has played 6 games. Very, very talented player. A 3-year starter at Spring Westfield down in Houston, a great program. So Cardell very much in the mix. And a year ago, we had our other quarterback that wanted to transfer at the end of the season. We weren't going to take a transfer. We were going to stay with our guys. Cardell did have a shoulder injury. As we came through spring ball, he started throwing, and he was having some issues with his shoulder. And we just felt he could have practiced, but he wasn't going to practice well. So we shut him down, and we cleaned up a minor shoulder injury. He looks great right now. So he and Kirk are battling, but that forced us to maybe look at a transfer, and we're able to bring in a young man by the name of Cooper Laga, who has 15 starts at Utah State. So we got a competition going on. We're not trying to be coy. We're not waiting to the last minute. I just want to see how these guys evolve through summer. Summer still, even though you're doing team activities, it's still not true football yet. I want to see how these guys managed the summer, how Cooper added, how Kirk kept coming on. I think Kirk finished well. I think Kirk is doing great. I think your questions about Kirk, I think he's setting up to have a very strong year for us. I think he can be a really very good college quarterback, but I'm very happy with that room right now, and I think we've got some options. And then we brought in Corey Dennis, that had been the quarterback coach at Ohio State the last handful of years, and he's worked with CJ and Justin, and we go back and move Coach Spurrier to a skill position to create room for Corey. So I think Coach Dennis is a nice add, helping Kirk in our room there. So love Kirk, like the way he's doing. He's still young, but he's got a great future.
Next question will be in the back in the left center.
Chris Woolman, Reddit r/CFB. Coach Wilson, the University of Tulsa has recently received something like, I think, $38 million in donations. How do you see that impacting the football program in particular?
Don't know yet. One, very appreciative, grateful, and thankful for those families. One had been a trust that had been going through a couple years, and our Rick Dixon, our previous AD, that did a great job, and appreciate Rick and all he's done for TU, and I think he's going to continue to be there to help us keep navigating some of these waters to find some of these resources. So, one was a trust that had to be settled, but there was another group there that Rick was able to work, and it'll be interesting. I don't know the timing of when those funds are available. It sounds like some of those are set to go for maybe funding the scholarships, but would maybe then free up some money. But as we move forward in college athletics, college football in particular, you're going to need resources, and to get those two large things were nice, but I think, like President Carson said, we're just getting started, not just with athletics, but our school. It's a great city. We have a small school, but a strong alumni, successful alumni base. And I think we've got some leadership that's going to work to not be pushy, but continue to find ways to enhance a great campus and the great athletic programs that we have.
Any other questions for Coach? Up there to the far right.
William Goodwin with the Frisco Bowl. You talked about playing yourself into shape last year, and obviously you're coming off a 4-8 season. What are some of the steps you've taken to kind of improve on last year and prevent the same start again?
Well, again, last year, I think initially, though, having been a head coach before, and you're, quote, creating your culture, the first thing, change is change. Change doesn't get you better. Doing something different is not necessarily best. So you're trying to figure out, the best way to do things. So last year was a little bit of trying to figure out the school, the environment, the academic piece, the scheduling of classes, the support staff, the strengths and weaknesses of those support people, and how to help those people as they're helping our players. I think the key, more than anything, I think a year ago, is that we have a great connection with our team. And that's the deal. I think it's more right now, and especially the older I get, about your ability to connect with the players, understand them, but give them a chance to understand you, what you expect, what is your standard, what do you accept and why. We live in a world where these kids put a lot of stress on themselves, and we're trying to get past the it's okay to fail. We talk in the weight room every day. If we're really working hard, we're going to get to a point in the lifting where we can't get the last rep, and that's called failing. But because we fail and we strain, we're going to get stronger, we're going to improve, we're going to get better. So again, I think there's a much better connection piece as much as anything with the guys. I will say we've done a great job academically since I've been there, and the first thing we had was a simple thing called go to class. And our school's so small that you can actually get to class, and we can help you walk to class, and we do that quite a bit. And so we get our kids to class, and we're coming off some of the greatest academic success this program's ever had, and it's the same classes and it's the same students, but the work ethic and the connection with the professors and the people on campus is at a high level, and our kids are having success. We recruited last year at a very, very high level. I think I saw, if you look at 247, the history of recruits in Tulsa, the top 50 recruits all the time, 15 were in last class. Well, that's because we were out beating the bushes, building relationships. Like I said, we took 12 kids out of the metro right here in the DFW area. So recruiting has picked up. This offseason, we lost a strength coach, and we went through and we were able to collectively look at some things, and we're able to bring in a former player. I didn't realize he was a strength coach. He actually played at Oklahoma when I was there years ago. We've had a change in the weight room, and we had this thing called go to class. Now we got some things called load the bar. Put some weight on the bar and start lifting some weight. So I've seen our team develop, and I just think we're at a stronger our strength coach, Cody Cook, who played it and finished up 3 years at Tulsa for Coach Graham, and Coach Blankenship's doing a great job with the speed and the conditioning level. Our kids have a lot of confidence. They're in a better place mentally. There's a better connection we have with our guys. We got a lot of work to do, and we're a work in progress, but we're having fun working. Our kids are killing it, and I'm proud of them.
Any other questions for Coach? Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Go to you.
All right, so that's Kevin Wilson from earlier today at American Athletic Conference Media Day. We'll have another opportunity with Kevin coming up next week as camp gets started, and then they also have media days where we'll have more of an opportunity to go one-on-one a little bit further in depth with the head coach. Looking at hopefully having some of the player profiles and some of the player responses maybe in a bonus episode that we'll be able to drop tomorrow. If not tomorrow, we'll definitely drop it before the end of the week, but really looking forward to see what some of the players had to say. I know Anthony Watkins is being there, and also Cam Benjamin as well. So maybe a little bonus episode this week. All right, so the other clip that I wanted to pull for tonight's episode, I think is one that's very important because in the landscape that we're currently in, and the American has a new commissioner. Mike Aresco is no longer, and I feel like that what the American did in going out and hiring the commissioner that I think right now has to be a little bit, I think it's fair to say cocky. It comes across as a little braggadocious, but I kind of like that in the commissioner right now. You heard me in episodes 2 talk about the way that I viewed Pernetti in the same vein as a Brett Yormark with the Big 12. But what I like about Pernetti is that he does not have some of the ick factor that Yormark has, and I say that in the most loving term possible. Pernetti today really impressed me. When I hear him basically say, we have no one in college athletics to blame other than ourselves, and it's time for us to really focus on with this unprecedented settlement that's happening right now. We have a chance to change the entire dynamic and start from scratch. And when he says, in a roundabout way, college athletics didn't change until we were forced to change, he's 100% right. And I do not hear a lot of commissioners that are willing to go on record in a press conference setting like this and call out the sport, but yet at the same time, not do it in a way that drives me nuts about college football. The real irritating thing to me about college football is the fact that I think there are signs that in terms of revenue, it's as healthy as it's ever been. And the media rights deals. Conferences are content creators. That's what they are, and that's what Commissioner Pernetti referred to the American today. And I think the more commissioners that start to understand it and vocalize that, I think that the fan base will start to understand that a little bit more. But private equity does not want to get involved in something that they know has the potential to fail. That's not how that works at all. And you've got all of these entities that are trying to jump in, and you'll hear Pernetti talk about that. I think the dude is incredibly sharp. I love Mike Aresco, and I think that his leadership was needed at a time, especially to get the type of TV deal that the American did with his background. But now you need a guy like this. You need a guy that's going to go up there, basically tell you how it is, and then go out and get bleep done. This conference needs an ass kicker, and at least now in the comments, it feels like Pernetti is going to be that. So I pulled a couple of clips here, the most important parts from the commissioner and his press conference today. Hope you really enjoy it because it's important. This conference needs leadership. They need vocal leadership. So far, so good through his first media day press setting, and now he's just got to go out and prove it. But I was impressed, and I think that you will be as well, with the new leader of the American Athletic Conference.
When I was chosen to succeed Mike, I remember Ralph Russo from the AP said to me, "Why do you want to return to college athletics? when so many people are seemingly trying to get out? And to me, it was an easy answer. Investment. My experience as a football student athlete literally changed my life. It provided me with a top-notch education, incredible football memories, lasting relationships with teammates and coaches, and invaluable life skills. 30 years later, believe it or not, collegiate athletics continues to be a formula that paves the way. Future teachers, entrepreneurs, professionals, leaders, it works. It's a model worth modernizing and investing in. And there's never been a better time than now to invest. I may be selfish. I think there's no better place to invest than at the American. Invest in our brand, our business, our people. And by the way, this is not my pitch to private capital. From day one, it's been a priority to do a deep dive and understand the brand. What makes us different? Where do we excel? How do we get stronger? Because investing in the brand is not just about games. It's not just about what fans see on Saturday. It's about building sustainability, creating a legacy, delivering an unrivaled student-athlete experience, and capturing the hearts of our fans. And here are some facts. During the 2023 season, the American had approximately 2.5 million fans that attended our football games, the most of our peer group. Our brand was also the most talked about in comparison to our peers, dominating the conversation at 33%. More than 65% of our conference-controlled football games aired on ABC, ESPN, or ESPN2, and we averaged nearly 1 million fans per game watching our linear broadcasts, and 16 of those exceeded that mark. We have powerful markets. 13 of the top 51 in the country are in the American. We have a presence and influence in Dallas, Houston, Baltimore, Washington, San Antonio, New Orleans, Charlotte, Philadelphia, Memphis, Tampa, Birmingham, annually rated the top college football market, and thanks to our newest football member, Army, in New York, the #1 media market in the country. This is just the beginning. This is power. We're going to maximize this brand by creating original content that goes way beyond game day. The experience has to last year-round and create engagement between student-athletes and fans and supporters. And we believe, as far as we know, we're the only conference with a production studio in our building with talented, creative, hungry executives ready to take the gloves off in the studio. We're happy to announce today, in support of those efforts, we've entered into a multi-year partnership with WSC Sports, a pioneer and industry leader in AI-generated sports video content. We'll create and distribute real-time and post-game video for every conference-controlled football, men's basketball, and women's basketball game. This gives us the same tools as the NBA, the NHL, NASCAR, the USGA. It will deepen our connection with fans. It'll unlock creative and revenue-generating opportunities. We all understand that growing our brand drives value for our member institutions, their programs, their student-athletes. This is our goal. It's also time to invest in the collegiate athletics model, the hot topic. Collegiate athletics is in the midst of transformative change. You might call it chaos, but it's exciting. Things need to change. Change leads to transformation. Transformation brings opportunity. Opportunity needs investment. People have been talking a lot about this. Private equity, private capital, me included, wanting to be involved in our space. Do you know why? They love business opportunities with massive and growing affinity and tremendous upside potential that maybe have been historically slow to adapt. And whether it's private capital or it's a creative corporate partner looking to break new ground, they see what we know. Collegiate athletics has failed to modernize the enterprise until it was faced with a crisis. But they also see that we are overflowing with committed leadership who is mission-driven. So what does a crisis mean? Legislators having to pen bills to help us change. a potential $20 billion lawsuit targeted at a handful of conferences and the NCAA. But here's the deal, like the enterprise is in it together. This finger pointing is useless. And while our conference is not named in that lawsuit, everyone has played a role in the failure to modernize in the past and create fairness for student athletes. Here's the good news. We're on the cusp of settling that lawsuit. It'll be the largest in collegiate athletics history, and this is a lawsuit that will completely change the way we govern and the way we do business. There's a frustrating part of this too. At times, there's a lack of transparency in sharing all the information so that we can all properly plan and begin to build the future. Listen, the people in that room, we're grateful for the hard work that's being done. These are some really smart people. And we all understand the importance at times like this, especially when it comes to litigation, of privilege. But this settlement is much more than about money. There are transformative matters at stake. Title IX, roster limits, sports sponsorship. We need to remember that the decisions being made are going to impact a diverse enterprise, not just the top 1%. This is why we have to work together to ensure every conference has a voice in this. There's hurdles, but I'm going to encourage my peers in leadership to remember we have this collective responsibility to work together, to listen to each other, to consult, to add ideas, to be open-minded, and deliver a model that properly supports 500,000 plus student athletes' ability to get an education, not just a small fraction of them. So there's a big question at stake. Are we doing that? In the American, our student athletes, coaches, administrators want to understand. They want to have a voice. This is logical. These decisions that are being made will determine their futures and how they should conduct their business. This potential settlement is going to shape a new enterprise, and that's when the work begins, to work together on a model, on a model that provides sustainability in the future. We owe this to the young people of the conference. Having experience in the private sector and on campus, I understand how to evaluate businesses. And I can tell you that innovation starts with collaboration. You have to choose the right partners. You have to have a cultural fit. You have to create alignment. Today, it seems like everybody just talks about the dollars. That's not the only factor. But here's the deal. Let's not spend a minute lamenting the state of college athletics. Okay? We've arrived where we've arrived. Instead, let's look through the windshield and not in the rearview mirror. I mean, if collegiate athletics was in such bad shape, do you really think we would be experiencing this accelerated growth and outside entities would want to invest in us? The fact is, the enterprise is worth investing in. Show me something that's like it. The intangibles are unmatched. It fuels passion, loyalty. It celebrates resilience. It builds character in young people. And most importantly, it provides educational opportunities. Despite the unknowns at the American, we're jumping that curve. We're going to invest in new relationships, strategic partnerships. We're going to build for our member institutions, build value for all of them. My favorite line, nothing's off the table. It can't be for us. We'll continue to cast the net wide. We'll meet with prospective commercial and investment partners, conference naming rights, jersey patches with revenue flowing directly to student athletes, private capital. We will continue to explore what's possible. That's our responsibility. And it's important to say this. These relationships have a non-negotiable. Each one has to deliver a new experience and resource enhancement for student athletes. They deserve that. We do this. Okay, let's talk about postseason play. We've all read about, and I've spoken and gone on the record to say we believe in more postseason football opportunities for student athletes. To be clear, more. I want you to focus on that word. More means additive. The CFP is a paramount relationship to the American, providing the opportunity to all of our coaches and all of our student athletes to compete every year for a national championship. We've been there before, and we expect to be there again. What has been established in this postseason is so meaningful, and there's room for more. In addition to, not in place of. Think about it. There could be conference champions left out of the CFP, and the prospect of an additional playoff for these champions that creates more opportunity and a greater experience for our student athletes. We're still waiting to hear what the downside of more meaningful postseason football is. That, by the way, could be a powerful complement and marketing platform to the CFP. Since day one on June 3rd, as you can tell, growth is something we're talking about all the time. It's 100% possible to break free from the status quo, to embrace innovation. Sometimes people will read a quote and say, well, are we doing that? We're just talking about these things. It's time to modernize the business and preserve what's special about college sports. This is what we're doing. We also believe in investing in people. The real power of our conference is its people, the member institutions, people who lead, coach, teach, work, compete, volunteer of themselves to be part of creating something special for young people. Investing in our people is not just a choice. It's our job. It's our responsibility. We are committed. We have to build an ecosystem of talent, growth, and success, and push every boundary. And we're not taking no for an answer.
I like the dude. That's all I can really say as we get set to wrap things up here on this episode. Remember to subscribe and like, send your comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on not only what Coach Wilson had to say, but what the commish had to say as well. Do you agree with him? Do you think that this is the guy that has the ability to lead this conference into the future? And are you excited about some of the potential changes that you could see and even the conversations? As he said, it's okay to open up and have these conversations about maybe even having our own form of playoff at some point down the road. Now, don't go overboard on that, just like he said, but it's at least time to start having the conversations. And hell, it might have been time about 4, 5, 6 years ago to start having those conversations. So hit me up at Poplin Show through Gmail account, poplinshow@gmail.com. Always there. Want to hear your thoughts on the commissioner and Kevin Wilson. If you have any comments or questions as well, things that you want to hear asked during the upcoming Media Day session at the University of Tulsa, feel free to reach out and we'll try to get that done for you as well. As always, thank you for tuning in. By the way, shouts out to Odd on the hat. Man, I'm a hat guy, so I constantly look every single day through every single website that sells hats. It's a real problem. I mean, a real problem. And, very rarely do you find things that kind of stand out, especially from the University of Tulsa standpoint. And when I saw the Rain Cane hat, I had to buy it. So shouts out to Odd and all the great products that are out there and in place. And heck, maybe even be able to get her on a future episode talk about some of her products that she's got going on as well. All right, everyone have a great night. We'll see you back here with bonus material coming up this week. We'll hear some from the players at American Athletic Conference Media Day as well.